history, and the topic name is Empowerment of Women and Other Weaker Sections. This is chapter number 6 of history. The name of the chapter is Empowerment of Women and Other Weaker Sections. Before starting the chapter, first we will revise something what we have studied in a last lecture or in the last chapter. Actually, we have studied the education in the last chapter, in the previous chapter. We have seen according to the census. So according to the census, the percentage of literacy was 17% in the year 1951. Then we have also seen chart that the chart shows us that in the year 1971 it was 34%. Again, after 10 years, in the year 1981 it was 43%. Then in the year 1991 it became 52%. So we started seeing the increasement in the literacy rate. Then in the 2001 it was 64%. In 2011 it was 74.4%. So it was continuously started increasing by decade. So remedial measures were also taken to increase the literacy rate in India. Similarly, we have seen the primary and the secondary education in India, and we have also seen how some people, those are some sections, the sections which are neglected, they also got an opportunity to take part in the education. So first we have studied the primary education. That primary education refers to the schooling given to children in the age group of 6 to 14 years. Then in that we have also studied the Operation Blackboard. Actually, the Operation Blackboard was undertaken in the year 1988 by the Government of India. So funds were also made available to improve the standard of the school and to fulfill minimum educational needs, such as at least 2 proper classrooms, then toilet, one of the 2 teachers to be female, a blackboard, maps, laboratory apparatus, a small library, a playground, sports equipment, etc. that's made available. Then it was made binding on the state government to appoint 50% female teachers. And then we have studied the DPEP. DPEP means District Primary Education Program, that was started in the year 1994 with the objective of universalization of the primary education. Means it made compulsory for all the children, those who are under the age group of 6 to 14 years, means each and every child under the age of 6 to 14 years, that child should get free and compulsory education. It was implemented in 7 states, including Maharashtra. Maharashtra was also included in that, means Maharashtra was also included in the DPEP program, that is the District Primary Education Program. Then Midday Meal Scheme, MDM, that was also started in the year 1955 to provide proper nourishment for the students. Then education was also given to Adivasi students, because as we know that Adivasi people, this is a neglected section. So education was also given to them. Some measures, some recommendations were made for providing education to them. One of the most important, that is the Tarabai Modak, that worked in Bodi and Kosbat area in the Thane district, and she started Anganwadis for Adivasi children. She worked hard to bring in the learning by doing method to start Quran Shalas and to spread the vocational technical education. Then the next one is the Anutai Vak. She also undertook the Kosbat project for the progress of Adivasis in a Thane district. She started nurseries, primary schools, adult education classes, and the Bal Sevika training school for the education of the Adivasis. So this we have studied about the primary education. Then we have studied about the secondary education. What we have studied in a secondary education, that after independence, means after 1947, Education Minister Maulana Abul Kalam, he set up the University Education Commission in the year 1948. It recommended the appointment of the separate commission for the secondary education, means separate commission for the primary education and separate commission for the secondary education. And according to that recommendation, the Mudliar Commission was appointed in the year 1952. That Mudliar Commission gave the education pattern that is 11 plus 4 or 11 plus 1 plus 3 pattern. And the commission recommended the concept of higher secondary. But later on, in the year 1964, the Kothari Commission was appointed. And it recommended the new education pattern, that is the 10 plus 2 plus 3. That pattern for secondary and higher secondary and university education. This system was implemented from the year 1972. It also recommended the increased provision in the government's budget for expenditure on education of the neglected sections like the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes. So this is the neglected section, that is scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, then nomadic tribes, that we are going to see in the chapter. So Maharashtra government also adopted the 10 plus 2 plus 3 pattern in the year 1972. And the first time Maharashtra government conducted the first 10 standard board examination in the year 1975. So we have studied the primary, secondary, then higher secondary education in this chapter. Now in this chapter, that is the empowerment of the women and the other weaker sections. In this chapter, we are going to study the development of the women, which laws were enacted for them, then what was the measures which were undertaken for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, nomadic tribes, and the minority. One by one, we will see that. Now, as we know that women had participated extensively in the freedom struggle. Means we all know that Rani Lakshmibai, Jhansi Ki Rani, she also participated. She gave her valuable contribution in the revolt of 1857. So women had participated extensively in the freedom struggle. Actually, women have also made important contributions in all the fields in the post. That is, now women are actively participated in the field of doctor, pilot, scientist, teacher, then police, etc. Independence period 2. That is what we will study in this chapter, as also the laws enacted for women and the other weaker sections. Means women have extensively started making their valuable contribution in all the fields after the independence. And in this chapter, we are also going to see the laws which enacted for the women and the other weaker sections. First, we will see number of women per 1,000 men. See, here I have given the year of census and the number of women. Means the number of women per 1,000 men. This is 1946 and 1941. This is the number per 1,000 men. So in the year 1951, when the census was conducted, so according to the census of 1951, the number of women was 1946. Again in the year 1961, it was 941. In the year 1971, it was 930. In the year 1981, it was 934. In the year 1991, it was 927. And in 2001, it was 933. As we have seen, this chart shows us that the number of women was increasing, but not more but few numbers. And again, it started decreasing. Why it became possible, why it happened? Because of this, I have picturized some inhuman practices which were going on in India. That is the sati system, which was now banned in India, but sati system was going on. Then dowry, Dahej, then child marriage, then domestic abuse. These are the various inhuman practices which were going on in India. And when we study the condition of the woman in India, means this condition, that is the sati system, dowry, then child marriage, domestic abuse, these inhuman practices, we realize that the roots of the several of the problems they face lie in the mentality of the men. Obviously, it is based on the mentality of the men. Even in the 21st century, we have not been able to rid ourselves of this male-centered mentality. As we know that in ancient times, the human society was male-centered, means the head of the family was the male candidate. Similarly, this family was the patriotic family, means all the decisions were taken by the head of the family, that is the male candidate, and women were not having even right to take even basic education. She was not having any political, social, religious, cultural rights. She was only having the duties, that is to rear children and to cook food. These two things or the two duties were given to the women. And but later on, as the period started going on, the condition of the women started improving. But for that empowerment of the women, for the development of the women, so many activists or the leaders or the women activists, they had made a valuable contribution for the betterment, for the development, for the empowerment of the women. Then we will see the Bhudan movement. Actually, what is the Bhudan movement? See, Vinoba Bhave made use of the women power in the Bhudan movement, which he had started placing his faith in Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy. Mahatma Gandhi, which he is called as the Rashtrapita, his philosophy is based on three principles, that is the Satya, Ahimsa, and Satyagraha. Vinoba Bhave also followed these principles of the Mahatma Gandhiji. So he started placing his faith in Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy, that is Satya, Ahimsa, and Satyagraha. Now we will see what was the actual Bhudan movement. Bhudan volunteers or the women volunteers carried the message of Bhudan to all the parts of India. Women played a significant, very important role in the Telangana, now it is separated, but first it was in Andhra Pradesh. Peasants armed struggle which challenged the rule of the Nizams and feudal system. At that time, the Nizam was ruling over the Hyderabad and all, and feudal system, feudal lords, they are called as the feudal lords, or they were also called as the landlords. So the land was in the hands of the feudal lords. The entire land was in the hands of the Jamindars or the landlords, and Nizam and the feudal lords were ruling over there. So Bhudan movement was started for making free the bonded laborers. As the region became free from the bonded labor, and women also found freedom from this torment. Torment, that's a torture. So women also became found freedom from this torture or the torment. Now we will see the next part, that is the manifestation of the women power. Manifestation, that is the declaration or the show of the women power. How women started showing their power, that we are going to study now in this part. See, women who have to face the burden of scarcity of supplies and rising prices gave a show of their strength as an organized entity in 1972. See, here in this picture you are seeing one instrument that is a very popular in our kitchen, that it is the most popular instrument of a mother that she always use in a kitchen, that is called as a rolling pin. Actually, it is in Marathi, it is called as a latna. So it is the name is also given in Marathi, that is the Latna Morcha, that is demonstration. Rolling pin demonstration means Latna Morcha. Demonstration means Morcha and rolling pin means Latna. So under the leadership of the socialist leader Mrinal Gore, she was a very active socialist leader. Women in Mumbai participated in the demonstration. Once again, demonstration means Morcha, which came to be known as a Latna Morcha, the rolling pin demonstration. Here you will see commodities like oil, ghee, rava, maida would become scarce just as Diwali was near at hand. The prices of the commodities were also increased. Kerosene had become very expensive, as we know that when demand increases, supply of the demand is increases, the supply of the commodity is less, then price of the commodity also increases. So these commodities like oil, ghee, rava, maida, kerosene, these became scarce and they became very expensive just as Diwali was near at hand. As a result, all the women decided to come together and to show their power. And similarly, women came together and brandishing their rolling pins, that was their brand, that is the rolling pin, Latna, and took part in the demonstration. This movement met with success and the public got a glimpse of the united power of the women. And once again, women showed their strength, their united power by successing this Latna Morcha, or the demonstration of the rolling pin. Here in this Morcha, which was conducted in the year 1972, here once again women showed their united power and they got success. used in it actually of a constructive woman power was seen during the Chipko movement in the year 1973. The trees from the forest in the foothills of the Himalayas were to be cut down for the commercial purposes. Means actually the order was given that the trees should be cut down for the commercial purposes, and the two great personalities were there that you are seeing in the picture, that is the Chandi Prasad Bhatt and Sundarlal Bahuguna. They had started a movement to prevent this. Means Chandi Prasad Bhatt and the Sundarlal Bahuguna, they started the Chipko movement to stop this uh, cutting of the trees. Now, women followed the strategy of holding hands and encircling each tree that you are seeing in the image, as their method consisted of protecting the tree by embracing it. The woman came to be known as the movement came to be known as the Chipko movement, and women took part in it in the large numbers. Women had a big role to play in the agricultural economy of this region. Here you can see that how women have encircled the trees for protecting them. So women had a big role, and they had played a big role in the agricultural economy of this region. Now the next part is, that is the women activist Gaura Devi, then Sudesha Devi and Bachni Devi. These were three women activists. They also played a very important role in the Chipko movement. So Gaura Devi was the activist who created this awareness among the women with the help of Sudesha Devi and Bachni Devi. As we have studied that, as we have seen that Chandi Prasad Bhatt and the Sundarlal Bahuguna, these two were the male activists or the male activist leaders, those who participated and gave their valuable contribution in the Chipko movement. As like them, these three women also participated and showed and given their valuable contribution. That is the Gaura Devi, Sudesha Devi, and Bachni Devi. See, these five people, important personalities involved in the Chipko movement. That is Chandi Prasad Bhatt, Sundarlal Bahuguna, Gauri Devi, Sudesha Devi, and Bachni Devi. Now, the next part that we are going to see, that is the anti-liquor movement. Anti means opposite, liquor means alcohol. So the movement was started against the alcohol or against the liquor. Now, see, here I have given the map of Andhra Pradesh. We will see why I have given the map of Andhra Pradesh here. See, in the year 1992, in Andhra Pradesh, a movement was started against the drinking of alcohol. It received a good response in other states too. Actually, why it was started, the movement against the drinking, as we know that everywhere people drink alcohol. But why only in Andhra Pradesh the first it was started, first the movement was started in Andhra Pradesh, that we will see, because when the head of the household dies an untimely death due to addiction to alcohol, the family faces a serious crisis which affects the woman the most. The head of the family, when he started drinking alcohol and he started dying untimely because of his death, because of his addiction due to addiction to alcohol, the family started facing a serious crisis which affected the woman the most. How the family affected, here you can see. Due to alcoholism, they have to deal with extreme sorrow and the poverty. And this movement got the support of the anti-Arak movement in Andhra Pradesh. Arak means locally produced alcohol. Once again, Arak means locally produced alcohol. So anti-Arak movement in Andhra Pradesh. As a result of a government policy, Arak, that is a locally produced alcohol, dealers set up shop in every town and village. The poor laboring people began to get addicted to alcohol. The government allowed the people to open their alcohol shops, allowed the dealers to set up the shop in every town. And because of that, the poor laboring people, those who are going on the daily wages basis, the people started getting addicted to alcohol. At the same time, a literacy program was being run in the village of the state. The Sitama Katha, that is a Sita story, Ram Sita, so Sita's Katha, Sita's story was narrated as a part of this program. It was a story about the Sita who creates awareness among the people of a village and gets alcohol to be banned from the village. And once again, as like a Lucknow Morcha, as like a Chipko moment, here also women showed their power. How they showed their power, that we will see now. In the year 1992, 3 youths of Dubaganta village of Nellore district in Andhra Pradesh drawn in a lake and in a state of inebriation, that is alcohol addicted, and died. At this instance, the women of the village came together and forced the closure of the Arak shops. And here also, like Lucknow Morcha, like Chipko moment, in a anti-Arak movement also, women showed their united power, and because of women's unity, once again, there was a ban on the Arak shops. Government or the people were, or the shops or the dealers were forced for the closing of the Arak shops. Now, the next one, that is the report of this news in the local newspapers had its effect on the many other villages. Many other villages also got encouragement because of this activity that was done by the women. The movement spread to the entire state, and the government had to adopt a strict policy against the sale of alcohol, and the anti-Arak movement got success. Now, the next part that we are going to study now, that is the International Women's Year. 1975 is called as the International Women's Year. See, the United Nations, or the General Assembly of the United Nations, had declared 1975 as the International Women's Year. And the 3 aspects of this program were, see, peace, development, and equality between men and women. So peace, development, equality between men and women, these are the 3 aspects of this program. 1975 is declared as the International Women's Year, and 8th March is celebrated as the International Women's Day. See, now the next. In 1975, the Government of India constituted the Committee on the Status of Women and appointed Dr. Fulrenu Guha as its chairman. So in the year 1975, the government appointed one committee on the status of women, and Dr. Fulrenu Guha became its chairman. Now, we will see a comprehensive survey was conducted of several issues, such as that committee conducted a comprehensive survey on some issues, and the issues that we will discuss now, that is the social position of women. Second, the status of women. Third, the consequences of the constitutional provisions. Fourth, education of women. Fifth, the progress due to education. Sixth, difficulties faced by working women with respect to work. Then seventh, their wages, their salary that should be equal to men. Then eighth, the male-female ratio, that next, birth and mortality rates, and then next, that is the last one, that is the role of women. So a comprehensive survey was conducted to discuss these issues that we have now discussed. 10 issues that we have discussed. So comprehensive survey was also conducted to discuss these issues and to make a progress towards the development, and to make some recommendations or to carry out some measures for the development of the women. Now, taking into consideration this entire background, a statewide conference for women was held in the year 1975 and organized by the Stree Mukti Sangatna Samiti, and women from all the walks of life, regions participated in it. The Samiti published its manifesto in the year 1978, and the policy of struggle against the discrimination on the basis of gender, caste, and varna was adopted. This gave rise to a collection of songs called Stri Muktichi Lalkari. So she also, Jyoti Mapsekar, she also gave rise to the collection of songs that is the Stri Muktichi Lalkari and street play called Mulgi Zali Ho. That was the street play by Jyoti Mapsekar and periodical called Prerak Lalkari, which became their mouthpiece and other such programs. Now, in the year 1977, groups like the Stri Mukti Andolan Samiti established by Saudamini Rao in Pune, that is in the year 1977, Saudamini Rao, she established Stri Mukti Andolan Samiti and Baija a fortnightly, it was the periodical, then Stri Uvacha Maitrin, that is the friend, Stri Anyay Virodhi Mancha, that was established in Aurangabad, then Mahila Dakshata Samiti, it was established in Kolhapur, then Mahila Hakka, it was established in Nashik, then Nari Prabodhan Mancha, it was established in Latur, then anti-dowry protection committees were also established, and conference to protest against the oppression of the women, that was also established by Saudamini Rao in the year 1977. Were of great help in dealing with the women's issues. The Employment Guarantee Scheme in Maharashtra also helped to empower the women. That is the Vidya Bal. She was also very activist, very active socialist leader. She established Nari and then Milun Sarya Jani, that is a Marathi name, Milun Sarya Jani, Samajwadi Mahila Sabha, Krantikari Mahila Sanghatna, and the Employment Guarantee Scheme. And all these were of a great help in dealing with the women's issues. All these means the Nari Samta Manch, Milun Sarya Jani, Samajwadi Mahila Sabha, then Krantikari Mahila Sanghatna, all these samitis or committees were helping in dealing with the women's issues. And the Employment Guarantee Scheme in Maharashtra also helped to empower the women, to develop the women. Now, the next activist or the socialist leader, women socialist leader is the Pramila Dandavate. Pramila Dandavate established Mahila Dakshata Samiti in Delhi in the year 1976. And the branches of this Mahila Dakshata Samiti were also established in some states, like it was established in Andhra Pradesh, then Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Kerala, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh. So Pramila Dandavate, she was also the active socialist leader. She established Mahila Dakshata Samiti in Delhi. First, that Dakshata Samiti was established in Delhi, and later on it was established in other parts of the India, that is the other states of India, that is the Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Kerala, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh. Now, the next part that we are going to see now, the Communist Party. What was the work which was done by the Communist Party? The Communist Party established Akhil Bharatiya Janavadi Mahila Sanghatna in the year 1980. Why it was established and what was the work which was done by the Akhil Bharatiya Janavadi Mahila Sanghatna? Actually, the efforts were made to start the branches of this organization in all the parts of India. This Sanghatna started a struggle against the issues like the dowry, female ferticide, and domestic abuse. These were the burning issues of the India, of the country, of the society. So the Sanghatna started a struggle against the issues like dowry, then female ferticide, and domestic abuse. Now the next part that we are going to see, the research on women's issues was undertaken at various levels. Women's studies centers were started at the first women university. For the development of the women, for giving encouragement to the women, women's studies centers were also started. The first women university, that is the SNDT Women's University, that was established. First women university, that is the SNDT University that was established. Then Tata Institute of Social Sciences, it was also established in Mumbai. Then Savitribai Phule, Pune University, that was established in Pune. And the next Shivaji University, that was also established in Kolhapur. So it came to be realized that for the development of the women, for the empowerment of the women study centers are necessary, and for that purpose the women study centers were established. So SNDT was the first women's university which was established in Mumbai. Then Tata Institute of Social Science, Savitribai Phule, Pune University and the Shivaji University, these universities were established for the studies of the women. So these centers played a very important role. The centers played a very important role in critical analysis and in developing a vision. So here we have part of this chapter, see the evaluation of this chapter. We complete the statements by choosing the proper option. Question 1. In 1992, a movement against alcohol was started in dash. Options are A. Maharashtra, B. Gujarat, C. Andhra Pradesh, D. Uttarakhand. Answer will be Andhra Pradesh. Second, in 1975, the Government of India formed the Committee on the Status of Women under the chairmanship of Women dash. Options are A. Dr. Fulrenu Guha, B. Uma Bharti, C. Vasundhara Raje, D. Pramila Dandavate. Answer will be Dr. Fulrenu Guha. Next, third, dash made use of women power in the Bhudan movement. Options A. Mahatma Gandhi, B. Sundarlal Bahuguna, C. Vinoba Bhave, D. Jayaprakash Narayan. Answer will be Vinoba Bhave. Fourth question, the dash established the Akhil Bharatiya Janavadi Mahila Sangatna in 1980. Options are A. Janata Dal, B. Janata Party, C. Congress Party, D. Communist Party. Answer will be Communist Party. Fifth question, the United Nations had declared dash as the International Year of Women. Options A. 1948, B. 1964, C. 1975, D. 1981. Answer will be 1975. So 1975 is declared as the International Year of Women. Sixth question, dash was the first women's university in India. Options are A. Mumbai, B. Pune, C. SNDT, D. Shivaji University. Answer will be SNDT. So SNDT is the first women's university in India. Seventh, Lucknow Morcha, that is the rolling pin demonstration in 1972 was led by dash. Options are A. Mrinal Gore, B. Jyoti Mapsekar, C. Pramila Dandavate, D. Saudamini Rao. Answer will be Mrinal Gore. Now, question. Complete the geographical description. Women's rights organizations in India. Women's rights organizations in India. Nashik. Here in Nashik, Mahila was established. In Latur, Nari Prabodhan was established. In Kolhapur, Mahila Dakshata Samiti was established. And in Aurangabad, Stree Anyay Virodhi Manch was established. Question: explain the following statements with reason. Question. First question, the women's liberation movement began in Maharashtra. First question is, women's liberation movement began in Maharashtra. Answer will be, first point, the United Nations declared 1975 the International Women's Year. Second point, the Government of India constituted a committee in the year 1975 on the status of women under the chairmanship of Dr. Fullerenu Guha. Third point, a comprehensive study indicated gender-based discrimination. Fourth point, the Stree Mukti Sangatna Samiti had organized a state conference in the year 1975 on the women-related issues. Fifth point, in its manifestation published in 1978, it was decided to struggle against discrimination on the basis of gender, caste, and varna. As a result, the women's liberation movement began in Maharashtra. Second question, the women in Mumbai took out Latno Morcha in the year 1972. Answer will be first point, women have to face the brunt of scarcity of the rising prices. Commodities like oil, ghee, rava and maida had become scarce around Diwali. Third point, kerosene had become very expensive. Fourth point, to display their strength and protest against the price rise, the women in Mumbai came together. Fifth point, they took out Latno Morcha, that is brandishing their rolling pins in 1972 under the leadership of the socialist leader Mrinal Gore. This is the second question. Then third question, the government of Andhra Pradesh had to adopt a strict policy against the sale of alcohol. Answer will be first point, the death of 3 youths in Dubavanta village in Nellore district due to drawing in a lake in a state of inebriation created an outrage. Second point, the women in the village came together and forced the closure of the Arak shops. Third point, the report of this news in the local newspaper had its effect on many villages. Fourth point, due to this, the movement against alcohol spread in the entire state. Therefore, the government of Andhra Pradesh had to adopt the policy towards the sale of alcohol. So here we have also done our evaluationary part also. Here I also want to discuss one more question, that is right about the work of Committee on the Status of Women. So in the International Women's Year 1975, the Government of India constituted a Committee on the Status of Women. That is Dr. Fullerenu Guha. She was appointed as the chairman of this committee. Then a committee conducted a comprehensive survey on the several women-related issues that we have studied in the, that is the social status, impact of the provision in the Constitution on women, education among the women and their progress due to education, position of women and the difficulties faced by the working women, their wages as against the male-female ratio of population, birth and mortality rate of women, and the role of women in the family and the society. So here we have done the first part of the chapter number 6, empowerment of women and other weaker sections. In the next part that we will see, that's the laws which were made for the women, then family codes, then alimony. This is very important part of this chapter that we will study in the next part, that is the alimony. Then Sati system or the Sati Prevention Act. It means in short we will see some laws which were enacted for the women and provisions which were made in the constitution, for the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and the nomadic tribes and the minorities, that we will see in the next. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Our next lecture will be Science 1 by Arifa madam. Arifa madam, are you there? Hello, Arifa madam.
I'm there.
Yes, madam. Next time, please join in one lecture before, madam. Thank you. You can start your.
Who is the Shivam Singh? He is requesting to control your camera. Yes, Almas madam. Almas madam. Can you see something on the board?
Yes, it's visible. Yes, it is visible.
But who is this? Who is Shivam Singh? Is it a student or from our
Student.
teachers?
Student.
The students have left now. Good morning, students. Almas madam, then I am starting now. Good morning, students. Hope every one of you all are doing fine over there. And you may have enjoyed Ganpati vacation too also. Now, this Ganpati vacation would be something extra for you because it was in continuation with your holidays only, which we are due to our coronavirus. Yes, no? And I hope every one of you are staying healthy, safe, and following the norms of social distancing. And that is the need of the hour. Yeah, that is the need of the hour. Okay, we have to follow the social norms for norms of the social distancing. Okay, now many of you may be knowing from all these days what we are doing here now and what subject I am teaching you daily over here. है ना? Now, so today we have come over here again for Science 1, but today we will start with the first chapter. That is laws of motion. Okay, that is laws of motion. I hope you can see me. Students, please stop sharing your screen. Students, please stop sharing your screens. Okay, so today we are here to start with the first chapter of Science 1, that is laws of motion. The very first chapter of Science 1. Actually, the textbook is one only, so you might be confusing, and also you are coming from 8th standard. So in the last year also you are having only one subject, that was science. But in our 9th standard you will be having Science 1 and 2. Okay. So the first chapter, that is Science 1. We'll all start with revising the chapter only. Earlier we have studied many things about the chapter laws of motion, but today we are still continuing with this only. That may be the revision that we can call it as revision. Okay. Now in this we'll be studying Science 1. We'll be studying today the for very first topic of laws of motion is motion. First one is motion, then the second one would be displacement and distance, and the next would be speed and velocity, and the effects of speed and direction on velocity. Okay, I hope everyone is there. Okay. We have started with now. All of you may be knowing my name. Many of my school students, they know my name, but I don't know about other one. So my name is Pathan Arifa Khatun Nasim Ahmed. I'm from Worli Seaface English Municipal Secondary School. And as we all know, we are going to learn the subject Science 1 and the chapter that is Laws of Motion. And that is to the revision. Okay. Now the chapter goes, we started now the introduction to motion. And I hope everyone of you are carrying your textbook with you all and paying attention in the textbook. So the page number 1, that is chapter number 1, page number 1, where the chapter is started. Introduction to motion. We are quite familiar with the word motion, isn't it? We are quite familiar with the word motion. What is meant by motion? Motion means movement, nothing but movement only. Now, we see the motion of several objects every day. We see the motion of many objects in our surrounding every day. Movement. Motion means movement. But sometimes we cannot see the motion of an object also. But most of the time it happens like if we don't see or we are unable to see the motion of objects, certain objects, not every object, certain objects. As in case of a breeze, wind or air, you can feel the air, you can feel the wind, but you cannot see it. That is the breeze or the air. It is in motion. That is why it has come from one place to another place. Okay, that is why it has come from one place to another place. Now, can you list some examples of motion beside this? I know you would be able to do this. You would be able to do this. Now, think about this. Okay, you are traveling in a bus. You are traveling in a bus. Is the person sitting next to you in motion? Is the person sitting next to you is in motion? We are traveling in a bus. For school also we go by using bus also. Sometimes we use a cab, a taxi, or whatever things we use for transportation. Now we are traveling in a bus, and most of the time in Mumbai, most of the time the buses are they are fully loaded or they are too messy. So many people sit around us. Sometimes they stand also around us. So suppose you are sitting on one seat and there is one another person who is sitting next to you. Is the person in motion? Here the question arises. Now, the person who is sitting next to you and the things which are included or which are related with that person, that like the seat of the bus, like all other seat of the bus, or any like the windows of the bus, for that all the, if you connect that person with all other objects, you will find, and for you also, that particular person, he is not in motion. But if you relate the particular person with the people, those who are outside the bus, and they are watching that bus from outside, here you can say that now the person, he is in motion with respect to the person standing out the bus. So motion is a related concept. Motion is a related concept. It is a related concept and it is related with the surrounding. It is related with the surrounding. Now the person sitting in the bus, the surrounding for him is the things which are in the bus, and the person who, or the person or the people, those who are observing that bus or the people inside the bus, that also they are when they see them, when they see the particular person from outside, at that time they are also relating it with the surrounding. So the person sitting next to you, that particular person is not in motion, but he is in motion to the person outside the bus or the people outside the bus. Now, what do you take into consideration to decide if an object is moving or not? What do you take into consideration? What we have to consider, the second question, to decide that an object is moving or not? Obviously, the surrounding. Obviously, the surrounding. If we want to decide if the particular object is in motion or not, it is moving or not, we have to relate it with the surrounding. Then only we can say that it is in motion. Otherwise, it is said to be in rest. So now we have learned that motion is a relative concept. You have to relate it with the surrounding. You have to relate that motion, that particular movement of that object with the surrounding. If the position, now here comes the definition of motion. If the position of an object is changing with respect to its surroundings, then it is said to be in motion. Any object, anything, later on we'll come through some examples also. If the position of the object changes with respect to the surrounding, then it is said to be in motion. Otherwise, you will say or will say that it is at rest. It is at rest. So please note down this definition of the motion. If the position of an object is changing with respect to its surroundings, then it is said to be in motion. Okay, then it is said to be in motion. Now, earlier only I said what are the examples of motion. But since we were defining the term motion, so we have not taken. But let us come through now some examples of motions. Flow of electrons, flow of blood. Flow of electrons and flow of blood. These two movements, the initial one, the flow of electrons and the flow of blood, are they visible to you? Are they visible to you? No. That means, in the starting only I said, some of the movement in the surrounding or some of the motion in the surrounding are not visible to us. But still we have to say they are in motion. So like the flow of electrons in the conductor carrying current, in the wire carrying current, electricity, whenever you switch on the fan, whenever you switch off the bulb, there is a flow of electron and therefore the bulb glow likewise. So the flow of electron is also an example of motion. The flow of blood in our body, the flow of blood in our body is also an example of motion. Then next thing, moving people, rotating fan, moving people, rotating fan, swimming, then moving bus, moving ball, a batsman running for scoring the run, he is also in motion. Also sometimes, most of the time you play cricket, you run for a ball, for catching the ball, so that it should not enter the boundary line. So at that time also you are in motion. So there are various examples which we can give from our daily routine life, that can be called as they are in motion. I hope you may have understood this. Second is the displacement and distance. Please carry your textbooks with you all. carry your textbooks with you all, then only you would be able to understand this all terms, because you will go on looking in your textbook and then you'll come through. Now the displacement and distance. This picture is been taken from your textbook only, that is 1.1. Yes, you can clearly see whatever that is written here, whatever that is written here, or whatever that is printed, it is from your textbook only. It is from your textbook. But there is one more figure also which is given for like something like a curve and all. But here I have taken this one only. Now, since we are studying displacement and distance, displacement and distance, so we have taken this example for this. Here you can observe three things. That is Sheetal and Prashant's house. Second one is Sangeeta's house, and third is the school. And we can take any example from our class also, but we'll take this only. So you might not get confused, and you can see here. Now, if we'll talk about distance, if we will talk about distance, so how you will come to know what is distance and what is displacement? See here. Now this is the first one, Sheetal's house. Sheetal wants to go to school. But now, as you all know, all of you people also, you get out of your home sometimes early before, and then you catch one of your friend, and then two of you catch the third one, and then you, three of you or four of you come holding your hands together to the school. Hai na? So likewise, Sheetal is also doing the same thing. What Sheetal is doing here? Sheetal is going to Sangeeta's house, and that is path A. Rasta, that is path A. And the distance of Sangeeta's house from Sheetal is 500 meters. 500 meter, walkable distance. 500 meter. Now, Sangeeta also joins Sheetal. Sangeeta joins Sheetal. Now they start walking towards the school. Both of them started walking to the school. Now the distance of school from Sangeeta's house is 1200 meter. 1200 meter. So now they reach the school. They reach the school. But when we'll talk about Sangeeta, okay, how much distance has Sangeeta covered? So we'll say instantly from Sheetal to Sheetal has how much distance Sheetal has covered. First, Sheetal started walking from her home, that is 500 meters. Then they both joined together and they went to the school, that is 1200. So for Sheetal, it is 1700 meters. For Sheetal, it is 1700 meters. 1700 meters. So what is distance? Distance is the actual path traveled to get at one point. Get at one point. And while being in motion, for going from one point to another. So for Sheetal, Sheetal has covered a distance of 1700 meters. Sheetal has covered a distance. What is distance then? Distance is the actual path traveled for reaching one point to another point. For reaching one point to another. But in case of displacement, displacement is also the distance only, but the shortest distance. Take the example of Prashant. Prashant, we'll talk about Prashant. What Prashant did, he did not go to Sangeeta's house, and he did not join the two girls and he went to the school. He directly followed a minimum distance that was only 1300 meters from the school, from the house to the school. Here you can say the shortest distance which is covered by Prashant is the displacement. So displacement is also distance only, but it is the shortest distance covered by any object. Covered by any object. The arrow indicates that the displacement is 1300 meters, whereas the distance is 1700 meters. For Sheetal and for Sangeeta, only 1200. For Sangeeta, it is 1200. For Sheetal, it is 1700. But for Prashant, it is only 1300 meters. So here we come to know about the definition of distance and displacement. So what is distance? Distance is the path traveled. Take the example of a car also. Take the example of a car, or for example of any moving object. Example of any moving object. Suppose a car is traveling to Pune. It will go by road only. Actually, it will go by road only, yes. The car or the bus will go by road only. And suppose the distance is about 100 km to Pune. Suppose it is 100 km to Pune. So, and it has traveled the path, and it has traveled. It was in motion. And the one point was Mumbai, the other point was Pune. And whatever the distance that is covered by the car is the actual path traveled. So if we want to define distance, it would be distance is the length of the actual path traveled by an object in motion. Motion is very important while going from one point to another. What is distance? It is the length of actual path traveled by an object in motion while going from one point to another, whereas displacement is the minimum distance between the starting and the finishing point. Between the starting and the finishing point. So I hope you have understood this. Please note down in your notebooks or whatever books you are carrying with you. And it is also given in your textbook page number 2 on the top of the page. Now, distance you may have understood. Now let us take the example for another object, that is a car only. Now see this car. This car is traveling from point P to some other point Q. And again it is coming back. Again it is coming back. Now suppose if it reaches the point, Q, from P to Q, it has covered a distance of 360 meters. It has reached to Q, that is 360 meters. But if the car has returned back to its original position, that is P, what would be the displacement? The displacement would be 0. Always remember, the displacement would be always 0. No, sorry, not always 0. It would be 0 in this case. And the distance that is actually traveled by the car may not be 0. Here also it is not 0. The distance is 360 meters. But since the car has traveled from P to Q and then Q to back to P, here the displacement is 0. Even the displacement of an object is 0, but the actual distance traveled may not be 0. It could be a number, anything. I hope you have understood the recent topics which we have gone through. And now I would want to discuss some questions, so very easy definitions with you. And if you have noted it, if you are noted in your book, I would love to listen from you. Okay, you have understood the meaning or the definitions of motion, distance, and displacement. So, what is or define the term, or what is motion then? What is motion? Can I hear from someone? Who could answer me this question? Please raise your hand if you could answer this question. That is motion. Yes. I'm waiting for that. Or else we could go to the next topic. Is there not anyone who could answer this? Okay, let's move on to our next topic, that is speed and velocity. velocity. This is also the topic which is given on page number 2, on your textbook, page number 2. Now, the speed and velocity. Most of the time, you might think that speed and velocity are the same thing, but it is not so. But it is not so. For this purpose, for understanding this purpose, speed and velocity, you have to understand one more topic, an important topic which is not given here, but for your understanding purpose, I have taken that. Okay, you should understand the speed and velocity. For this purpose, the term which is important to learn is the magnitude. And I'm sure this word is new for you. This word is new for you. Might be it is new for you. So, what is the magnitude? What is the magnitude? By the word, you remember only one thing. Magnitude means how much. Magnitude means how much. Kitna? How much? You can see here 3 pics over here. You can see 3 pics over here. The first one, these are the 3 trucks or lorries. Second one is a watch, and third one is a balance. If we go to the first pic, that is the pic of trucks. These are 3 trucks which are carrying different material, whatever it may be. If I am supposed to ask my class student, that is Raj or Sarita, anyone else, okay, what is the weight shown there, Raj? You would answer 28.2 ton. The second one is 34.4 ton. The third one is 39.5 ton. 28.2 is the magnitude of the truck, and ton is the unit or the quantity. 34.4 is again the magnitude, and ton is again the unit. 39.5 is again the magnitude, and ton is again the quantity or unit. Now, you may have understood magnitude means how much. How much? So, you could understand with the help of number. Okay, 28.2 kg, ton. Tons. There it is many. It is many quintals. It is many quintals. So 28.2 is the magnitude in the first case. Second case, in the watch, what is the time over 9 minutes has been passed. So 9 is the magnitude, minute is the unit. In the third case, 2 kg potatoes. 2 kg potatoes. 2 is the magnitude and kg is the unit. For speed and velocity, it is necessary to learn the magnitude. I hope you could have understood this. 28.2 magnitude. 9 minute. 9 is the magnitude, minute is the unit. 2 is, in the third case, 2 is the magnitude, kg is the unit. Okay. Now, in your textbook also, you might be seeing there is one question, what are vectors and scalars? But before that, we must know what are scalars and what are vectors. What are scalars and what are vectors? If you go on looking magnitude, just look on magnitudes only. Just look on magnitude only. Suppose, in case of magnitude, we are having a watch over there. In case of magnitude or in the scalar quantity, when we talk about the scalar quantity, suppose I am asking you, okay, what is one of the students have asked me, ma'am, what is the time? I said him Okay, but it is 10 o'clock. It is 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever. Then after that, someone asked me, ma'am, what is the direction? Then I will laugh. What is the direction means? What is the direction? Does time have a direction? No, time do not have a direction. So that's why time is a scalar quantity. The things which have only magnitude, the things which have only magnitude with their units, they are scalar quantity. Like time, 10, 10, it is 10, 10 past 5 minutes, 10 past 5 minutes. The number 10, it is the magnitude there, minute is the unit. So the things which have only magnitude, they are the scalar quantity. Therefore, time is a scalar quantity. Time is a scalar quantity. If we'll talk about distance, yes, if we'll talk about distance, so as Sangeeta has or Sheetal has traveled or covered a total distance of 1700 meter to the school. Distance 1700 meter up to the school. So again, that means the distance, and that is also in some number, 1700 meter. Again, then distance, it is a scalar quantity. Likewise, speed also. Speed and distance both are the same only. A car traveled a distance of 60 kilometer. Calculate the speed. Calculate the speed. Now you will calculate the speed in number only. So here you come to know, okay, the time, the distance, and the speed, they are scalar quantities. They are scalar quantities. Why? Because they only have magnitude. Because they only have magnitude. Next is the vectors. But you can see there, the vectors, they have magnitude plus direction. Magnitude plus direction. Suppose I was going to my home. I was on the way to my home, and one of the fellow passenger or fellow passerby had asked me, Madam, where is the railway station? Madam, where is the railway station? And how long is the railway station? So I said him 2 kilometers. I said him only about the magnitude. But don't you think the direction is also necessary? If myself or yourself, you want to go to the if you want to go to the railway station, you may be needing the distance as well as the direction. You may be needing the distance as well as the direction. Magnitude plus direction. So I will say to him, or you will say, 2 kilometers to the north, 1 kilometer to the east, 1 kilometer to the east. So this is vector quantity. And vector quantity here, now the person, he is covering that distance, and he has moved to the station. He has displaced. So there comes displacement. The body of that particular person has been displaced from that point up to the station. So that is displacement. And displacement is therefore a vector quantity, because he has traveled a distance of 2 kilometers plus in the direction of north. Therefore, displacement is also a vector quantity. Another thing, velocity. You can see there, velocity. Suppose you are asked, a car is moving with a speed of so and so. A car has traveled a distance of a car has been displaced by 50 kilometers in 1 hour. Calculate its velocity. So as I said if displacement is a vector quantity and displacement is related to velocity, therefore velocity is also a vector quantity. Now we can answer this question. So what are vectors and scalars? What are vectors and scalars? Vectors are the things which have magnitude plus direction, they are vectors. And scalars, the things which only have magnitude, they are the scalar quantity. Examples of vectors are the velocity and displacement. An example for scalar is the speed, time, and distance. Second question, you can easily classify them which of the quantities. Distance, speed, velocity, time, and displacement are scalar and which are vectors. Here you can come through. The first box which is shown in blue, it is speed. Then what is speed then? The total distance traveled in a given time. The total distance traveled in a given time is the speed. And here comes the formula for speed. K, speed is total distance traveled upon time required. Suppose you want to calculate the speed of the car and it has covered the distance of 60 kilometers, and in 60 kilometers in 1 hour. 60 kilometers in 1 hour. So we'll write their total distance 60 kilometer, and upon time required is 1 hour. So 60 upon 1 would be 60 only, 60 kilometers per hour. Now the velocity. The second one is the velocity. Since I told you the velocity is a vector quantity and it is related to displacement. Velocity is related to displacement. The distance traveled in a particular direction. Yes. Velocity as well as the displacement. The displacement also has a direction. And therefore velocity is also having the direction. Suppose for example, if you want to know about the direction, if you want to know about the direction, the same example we can take from the earlier only, that this particular person has asked me about where is this railway station. So not that was the direction, and the distance and the displacement, if you'll put up there, you can get the velocity of the person. What is the definition of velocity? The distance traveled in a particular direction also, and also in the given time. It is called as velocity. Here, the time can be 1 minute, 2 minutes, second, or an hour also. 1 hour also, 1 second also, 1 minute also. If large units are used, then 1 year also can be the unit of the time. 1 year also can be the unit. The displacement that occurs in unit time is called as velocity. In a given time, maybe it is second, maybe it is minute, or maybe it is hour, or maybe it is year. So the displacement which occurs in a direction, which occurs in a particular direction, also in a unit time, in a given unit time, that is called as velocity. So formula for velocity is displacement upon time. If you want to remember with simple logic. Speed is related to distance, velocity is related to displacement. And in the word sums, you could get this for your solving of this sums. Always remember, you can read there, it is for your general knowledge purpose. If you want to calculate the average speed, the first peak we have taken, that is Shital's house, then Sangeeta's house, and then the one that is a school. In the first example, the straight line, the distance between the houses of Shital and Sangeeta is 500, and that between Sangeeta and school is 200. And also the straight line between Shital's house and the school is 1300 meters. Shital and Prashant. Suppose Shital takes 5 minutes to reach to Sangeeta's house and 24 to reach school. Therefore, what is the speed of Shital along path A? Path A, that is 500 meters, and she is taking only 5 minutes. So she is walking by a distance of 100 meters per minute. हर एक मिनट को, for 1 minute she is walking, covering a distance of 100 meters for path A. Now path B, leave Sangeeta, only Shital is traveling. Suppose Shital is traveling alone. Let us take Shital is traveling alone only. Now Shital is walking from Sangeeta's house to the school, and the distance is 1200 meters, and the time is 24 minutes. She takes 24 minutes. 24 minutes लगता है उसको she takes up 24 minutes. So if you'll divide 1200 by 24, or you can cut it by the table of 12 also, then it minutes per minute. 50 minutes per minute. 50 minutes per meter per minute. Okay. So what is Sheetal's average speed now? Average. If we will add together 500 plus 1200, 500 plus 1200, then we'll come to know it is the total distance of 1700 meter, and we will also add both of them, 24 plus 5, 24 plus 5, that is 29 minutes. So the distance average speed of Sheetal is 58.6 meter per minute. 58.6 per minute. But this was the speed, but now the velocity of Sheetal, and we will apply the formula for velocity. Since I told you velocity is related to displacement, we'll apply the formula for Sheetal's velocity, that is displacement upon time. Displacement, the minimum distance from Sheetal to the school, that was 1300 meter. That was 1300 meter. But the time is the same. The time is same in case of distance also, and in case of displacement also. So that is 29 minutes. So the velocity, it comes up to 44.83 meter per minute. 44.83 meter per minute. Okay. So this is how you have to calculate the average speed and velocity. There are word sums in your exercise, or we will go through, which is given for the calculation of average speed plus the velocity for different objects. Now the effects of speed and direction on velocity. Effect of speed and direction on velocity. The next topic, page number 3 on your textbook. Now Sachin is traveling on a motorbike. Anyone is traveling on a motorbike. What will happen in the following events? Look at the figures. What will be the effect on the velocity of the motorcycle if the speed increases or decreases, but the direction remains unchanged? Suppose Sachin is traveling a straight distance. He's riding his bike over a straight road. And what will be the effect on velocity? Speed is the same. Suppose speed is 40 kilometers per hour. He is riding the bike with an speed of 40 kilometers per hour. What will be the effect on velocity if the speed increases or decreases? Suppose Sachin increases his speed, the velocity will also increase. And if he decreases the speed, the velocity will also decrease. But the direction is remaining unchanged. He is moving in a straight line. So velocity also remains the same. So from the first example, that is Sachin is riding a bike. What will be the effect on velocity? The velocity, it is clear from the above example that velocity depends on speed. If speed increases, velocity increases. Speed decreases, velocity decreases, as well as direction also. And that velocity changes by, how the velocity changes? Velocity changes when the speed changes, but the direction is the same. Or you can say the velocity is the same. Velocity changes only when the speed is changed. Second one. Now, in the second page, Sachin has taken a turn. Will the velocity and speed the same? Now Sachin was traveling with a speed of 40 kilometers. Now there is a turn, most of the time. Most of the time we decrease our speed when we are taking the turn. Otherwise, we'll slip off the road. We'll turn to some another direction only. But in this case, the velocity is given, the speed is given the same. Speed is given the same, but he is not taking the turn. If he is taking the turn, what will be the effect on velocity? What will be the effect on the velocity? While taking the turn, and you are changing the direction, while taking the turn, the velocity changes. Velocity changes while changing the direction. Though your speed is the same, the speed is same, but you are changing the direction. You are moving. You are taking a round turn. Most of the time, we have to go through the circles. In a city like Mumbai, we often go through a circle for taking a U-turn and all. So at that time, you have to decrease the speed. But here is an exception. The speed is given the same. But for case of velocity, अगर हम velocity की बात करेंगे, we'll talk about velocity. Then the velocity will change. If you change the direction, speed is same, but direction is changed. The velocity will change. Third one. Now, if on turning, Sachin changes. Now here, if on turning, Sachin changes the direction as well as the speed. He is changing the direction also the speed. What will be the effect on velocity? What will be the effect on velocity? अब यहाँ पर सचिन ने क्या किया? What Sachin has done? Now again there is a turning. Sachin changes the direction also as well as the speed also. What will be the effect on the velocity? What will be the effect on the velocity? If the direction and the speed of the motorcycle changes, then the velocity changes with the speed as well as the direction. Simple meaning, the velocity will change. The velocity will change if there is a change in direction and if there is a change in the speed also. So for first case on a straight road, velocity changes if the speed increases or decreases. Second case, for a turn, velocity changes while changing the direction, but the speed is same. Here also velocity changes. And in the third case also velocity changes if the direction is changed and if the direction is also changed here. I hope you might have understood this. Now we'll have some question answers session here. Now differentiate between, please note down these questions in your book, speed and velocity or scalar and vector. Speed and velocity. What is speed? What is speed? Speed is the distance traveled in a given time. Speed is a vector quantity. What is velocity? Velocity is the displacement occurred in unit time in a direction. Velocity is the displacement occurred in unit time in a given direction. Velocity is a vector quantity. Okay. Difference between scalar and vector. What is scalar? The quantities which have magnitude are called as scalar. Example of scalar are time, distance, and one more thing, time, distance, and this is for you. I have given all these three examples in the question. Speed, it is written there only. What about vector? The quantities which have magnitude as well as direction, they are the vector quantities. Example of vector quantities are displacement and velocity. Displacement and velocity. The last question one. Solve the given example. Very easy one. I have shown you how the average speed is calculated. there is one object. It is moving 18 meter in the first 3 seconds. In the next 3 seconds, it is moving 22 meter. And in the third, 14 meters. What is its average speed? What is the average speed? What is the average speed? What we'll do? We will first club together all the distance traveled. Club together, that is 18, 22 and 14. That comes up to 54. And also the time, 3, 3, 3. In the first 3 seconds, in the next 3 seconds, that is 6 seconds, and in the last third one, 3 seconds, that is 9 seconds. Average speed, you have to calculate the average speed. So for speed, you need to apply the formula. Speed is equal to distance traveled upon time. Distance traveled is 54 meter, and the average time is 9 seconds. 54 upon 9, that comes to be 6 meter per second. 9 6 are 54. 9 6 are 54.